All right, on the bench today out of a 2001 Dodge Dakota, we have the 44RE. So what's going on with this? It's slipping in reverse real bad. All right, so originally this car had come through, this Dakota had come through with a 3.9. The guy swapped out the engine, did a conversion to a 5.9, swapped out the computers and everything. Transmission, I guess, worked okay until it started slipping in reverse. It worked okay from what I understand. Upshifting. So we're going to take this thing apart. I have a feeling it's probably something with the band because it worked okay upshifting. And on this transmission, the direct clutch or third clutch also comes on in reverse. So if this was slipping in reverse and flaring on to 2 to 3, we would know we would have an issue with the direct clutch. So I never drove the car, but he said it worked okay in the higher gear, so I'm assuming we're going to be dealing with a problem with the reverse band. So it is a 4x4, so I'm going to get a little closer. We'll tear it down and see what we find. All right, so the first thing I want to get out here is the output speed sensor. All right, let me just move this in view here. So this is right here, the output speed sensor. Let me bring it to the edge a little bit. Okay. Righty. Okay, should be an O-ring. Here it is. And so this we'll put aside. All right, so the next thing on top here, we have the cover plate that covers the snap ring, and that is a Torque 25. So let's get those two out. All right, these came out fairly easy. Sometimes they come out not so easy. All right, here's the plate, and we're going to get that snap ring. Spread the snap ring to get the overdrive section out from the extension housing. All right, so now I'm going to take some of these bolts out here from the extension housing, not all of them yet. Let me get a little extension. Okay, so these are 7/16. Wait a minute. Okay, one here. Get it. Okay. All right, so we got, the thing's going to wind up being flipped over, so let me just get this one out. We'll have one left in there. Okay. All right, the next thing I want to get out are the pump bolts. Actually, I'm going to be using a 1/2 inch on that. 13 fit a little too loose. All right, and we have the adjustment. That is 3/4. So we're just going to take the whole thing out. The adjustment for the band. Okay, there it is. So what we're going to do now, actually, before we turn this over, let's get the pump out. I think at some point this transmission may have been done. I can see this is painted silver here. I'm not really sure how long ago it was. Let me see what the threads are here. We can get this thing out. He's down here. Look a little. I think it's going in now. All right, we got that. That's good. I actually sent the converter, you know what, this problem here, these rings don't look the greatest. Well, the stator doesn't look the greatest, and if they freeze on here, you're not going to have reverse. And I think it slipped in reverse, but I think what I'm going to do is I got to clean this up, maybe change these bushings. I'm going to change this pump, because these aren't frozen on here, but they're really not the best shape. All right, so let's see if we can get just the front half of this unit out. Let me get the, see if we can get the band strut out. Okay. Right, here is the band strut, the band. Drum is okay, no ring grooves here. I could probably just clean it up. And I'm going to change both bushings. When the bushings are bad, these bushings are way worn out. And then what happens is that the drum kind of lays to one side, and you can see it's been, it really hasn't been, it really doesn't look the greatest, but again, I can probably clean this up. But could this be a cause of slipping in reverse? I'm not going to say no. See how those all look. So now we have two washers in between the forward drum and the output shaft. This one goes onto the output shaft, and this one fits in here on the forward drum. It only pretty much goes one way. So that's the washer there in the forward drum. All right, so now we need our eyelid snap ring pliers. Get that out. Okay, there's the snap ring. All right, now we'll pull the planet out. All right, we're going to take a look at this. There's a washer here. I call it the up tab washer. I'll show you once we take this apart. I always replace that. The bushing and the ring gear. Sun gear, we got a couple of washers on each side. Goes in between. This washer is going to go here on the front planet. And this washer goes here on the rear planet. Okay, another washer. All right, so what I would like to do is kind of drop the pan now, and I want to see how the adjustment is before I pull this reverse band and pull everything out. So let's flip it. Hope this thing was drained. Looks like it's got plenty of fluid in it. All right, let's get the pan off. Just pick this up a little. Let me just reposition. Give me 1 second. So let's continue. You know what, I believe this was rebuilt because the converter appeared to be rebuilt. They sent the converter out. My local converter rebuilder picked it up already. We can actually air check that too. All right, so here's the pan. Pan is clean. Looks like they did at some point change the fluid in it. All right, so we'll get the filter out. These are Torque 25s. so we have our governor pressure sensor, the transducer. We have the lock up and 3/4 shift solenoid on the bar. So right now what I'm going to do is take the E-clip, the C-clip off of the linkage rod. So we'll take the 7/16 bolts out of the valve body and we'll lift it off a little easier that way. I always do it that way. Let me just find my magnet here. All right, so I'm just going to kind of get this clip off of the linkage. I get a magnet on it, and that's the little C-clip there. Okay, put that there. Let it go. Oh, here it is. There. All right, let's get the valve body off. Okay, here's the valve body. Really doesn't seem too bad. Let's take the accumulator out here with the springs. I'm going to put a little air in this. Now I'm going to take the linkage rod out. Okay, yeah. So that's that. So I don't want to get an oil bath here, so I'm going to just apply a little air. I'm curious to see if that piston leaks, applies, or what it does. Well, that seems, to me that seems okay. Seems like it's even holding the pressure there, so it's very possible that slipping in reverse, you know, if you really look at this, this really is no good up here. These ring lands aren't the greatest. There's some grooves in here where the bushings were bad. And it's possible if these rings weren't sealing or spinning and they were kind of stationary because they got stuck in a certain position, it's going to slip reverse. You know, I think I'm starting to think more that is probably our issue. So that's definitely going to have to be cleaned up. If not, I'm going to probably change the pump. Well, I should be able to put this on the lathe and just clean this up. I mean, these rings, they're free, but the stator itself is really not that great. All right, let's get this snap ring out. You know, also we got to check the overdrive direct, but there was no snap ring in the pan. All right, so here is that snap ring here. All right, this drum looks fine. And this band doesn't really even look bad, doesn't even look worn out. Yeah, it really looks okay. Well, I don't think this is our problem right now. I'm looking at that stator there for slipping in the reverse. Didn't really have no reverse, actually was slipping in reverse. I might have misspoke during the intro. Okay, so now, let's get the last bolt out here, the 7/16, then we'll separate these two. Okay. Okay. All right. Let me just leave this here for now. So the case, we have our shim and our piston that we're going to take out. All right, let's just put this case aside for now. Bring this down a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to pull the intermediate shaft out. Here's a bearing that goes right there. Put that aside. Now we're going to stand this up. All right, we're going to pull the snap ring out, the little wire clip. And these are the large overdrive clutches. Oh, give me 1 second. Okay, let's continue. Let's get these out. Okay, then we have the bottom, thicker one for the bottom. All right, now we have 2 snap rings. Now let me just bring this down again. Sorry about that. Okay, so now we have 2 snap rings in here. We have a wavy one, and then we have a flat one. I'm going to take the wavy one out first, and then the flat one. The wavy snap ring does like to break, so just make sure that that looks okay, and we'll know that by taking it out anyway. Okay, so there's one, and then the flat one. Okay. All right, so now turn this up. And we're going to open that snap ring and let this thing drop down. Let's see how easy that's going to drop down. There we go. Okay, here's the housing. Has a seal, 4x4 seal back here we're going to change. And here is the OD section. No, our snap ring is intact, so that's not an issue. So looks like I'm going to be going for that stator being no good because the bushings on the direct drum went bad. And again, I didn't drive this, but they told me there was no problem going forward. Maybe there's not too much truth to that. Who knows? But that's what I was told. Okay. All right, now we're going to take this rack here. Let me just, you know what, that's a 3/8. Let me just grab that socket, raise the camera up a little bit. Okay. This will come out. Okay, there's a gasket here, and this transmission definitely was done before, like I suspected, only because there is a Trans-Tech gasket on this. Oh, here is the support. Okay, here is the extension housing gasket. All right, so now since we have that off, we can take the pin out here, because we don't want to lose that in the tank. Okay, so that's with a band. And there's going to be another one that holds this in. Let's see if this will just come out. There's O-rings on this one. It's not coming out so easy. We'll just leave it in for now. All right, now I want to get the 2 pistons out for the intermediate and the reverse. Let me reposition one more time so everybody can see. Right, first we'll do the reverse. Okay, so we have the snap ring, the spring seat, the spring, and the piston. Okay, I'm not really seeing too much wrong with this, so this looks fine. All right, now let's get the one for the intermediate band out. Again, snap ring. Okay. Top cover, which has a ring on it. Spring. And the piston. Got 2 rings on that. Okay, and I think this inside here there is an O-ring. Okay. And also, if you want to make sure that this cover slides easily on that pin. Okay, that looks good. All right, so the case basically is stripped. Give me one more second here. All right, so let's check out this planet set. I'm not liking this. All right, so let's get rid of this washer. I'm not liking this. See the difference? This looks like it got very hot for some reason. I'm not really liking that. And the rest is not. So let's open this up and see what we got. We're gonna get the snap ring out. Okay, here is the snap ring. And then this washer, which I call the up tab washer, is going to be changed because it has the groove in it. That's a common rebuild procedure. And then there's another washer here that goes in between these 2 tabs here. And then we have another washer for the planet here. So let's take a look at this. I'm not liking this. Oh yeah, this thing is bad. All right, so this gear is okay. I'm hoping you can see this. This gear is okay. This is okay. And this one got very hot. And look at that. If you can see that, that is totally rocking back and forth. Terrible. No good. And this one is tight, not even moving. This one, very bad. Okay, so this is no good. That's got to be changed. I'm either going to just get the planet or I can get this as a set. That's got to be changed. All right. So let's take a look at the direct clutches, which again is on in 3rd and reverse. So we know that both bushings are no good. And these clutches, oh, they're burnt. That's burnt. You know, steels are okay. But the clutches are burnt. But I'm going to attribute definitely the slipping in reverse to bad bushings on the direct drum that possibly made those sealing rings freeze up. Okay, forward drum. I'm going to get the selective washer out here. Put that aside, not to get mixed up with the pump, which is also selective. All right, let me put this here. Let's bring this down. Okay. Forward clutches look good. All right. Let's see if we can get this out. Okay. It holds the Belleville spring in, which is here, and piston, which we're going to do new seals. Okay. All right. Now we're going to check the pump.
Yeah, the forward drum sealing ring's right. Oh, you know what? This actually has a ring groove in it from the forward clutch drum. So yeah, if 100% this pump, we gotta change this pump. This is no good. This pump is no good. And you can, if you can kind of see here, the ring lands are a little screwed up. I do not like it. This pump is gonna be changed. I might even have one out there. Okay, well the body and gears, pocket is very nice. Let's see if I have a pump, and that is going to be changed. Not liking that. All right, so what I got to do now, I'm going to put you guys on hold. I press this down to take the Overdrive Direct snap ring out, and this is another item. Whether this snap ring is good or bad, it gets changed because they break. All right, let me just put you guys on hold for 2 minutes, and we'll be right back. Okay, so I released the pressure on that big heavy spring, took the snap ring out, and hey, the snap ring was broken. All right, so let's check. Oh, God. Okay. Oh, these are fried, these clutches too. Look at that. Could have been a problem. Also slipping in reverse. Because when this snap ring breaks, and it breaks out, you'll lose reverse on the Overdrive Direct. So yeah, these are shot clutches and steels. Could be a problem there too. I don't never really see that too often. Okay, then we have a bearing that goes here. Okay, Overdrive Planet looks good. All right, there is that's for the Overdrive for the Sprague. Okay, so this is going to go on this way. That will go on like that. That will go like that. Okay. So here is the selective shim that goes here. And if it's too thick, and this Overdrive Direct clutch gets released, you'll have no reverse also. So here's the shim, assuming that came with it, and that's it. So we found a couple interesting things here on this 01 Dakota. We found the Overdrive Direct snap ring broken, which is common. We found these clutches wiped out. Okay, planetary got hot on this one gear for some reason, and this thing is no good. And the pump, I don't really care for the pump. It does have grooves in there, like from bad bushings. The bushings are worn out, so the shaft sits down, and that's no good either. So, typical overhaul with some hard parts. And I'll get this thing going, get this guy back on the road. Let's just take a fast look at the valve body here. Okay, so also, I'll be doing the transducer, the governor solenoid. There is a spring in here, 3/4 accumulator that likes to break. Let's check it out before we go. there's a spring inside the spring. Must be some kind of a shift kit or something. Normally you don't see that. It's just one spring. This really isn't really what you see. Oh, and not only that, there was a nut in there in the bottom to keep this more high. So somebody, you know, probably put some form of a shift kit. Actually, what this looks like is to a 41 TE accumulator springs. He did change the engine as went from a 3.9 to a 5.9, but I mean, there's only one spring. If they got different engine sizes, but it probably should be maybe more like a 46 RE. But we'll see what's going to happen when I put that back together. Okay, that's it. All right, looking good. So I got my overhaul kit. I got my bands here, clutches, and I got to see what clutches I have to what clutches I'm going to need. I do have a bunch of these clutches. I do have a bunch of these steels, so I may not need those. And I'll just get the balance of what I need on order. So that's it for this 01 Dodge Dakota 44RE. And thank you guys for watching. Have a great day. We'll see you next one.